Hey guys, we are going to be disbudding and tattooing a couple of our babies. So first of all, I want to start off by explaining why we disbud and tattoo our babies. The main reason for disbudding and tattooing your baby goats is for ADGA registration purposes. Yes, you can register your goats still if they keep their horns, but you are not able to show them unless they have been disbudded or are naturally polled or hornless. None of our goats are polled though, so every baby on our farm is born with horn buds that start coming in within the first week of life. So when those horn buds are small, you want to go on ahead and burn them so that they do not grow into full-fledged horns. Another reason that we choose to disbud and our goats is for safety purposes. Goats will find any excuse to hurt themselves or get themselves stuck in things. Horned goats get stuck in fences all the time. We've had problems with that in the past with our first goats that we ever owned. Our first goats did have horns, and we just prefer, for the safety of the goats as well as our infrastructure, our fences and everything, that we do go ahead and disbud them when they're babies. And then with tattooing, again, it's an ADGA registration thing. They have to be tattooed in order to be registered. As of right now, ADGA does not recognize microchips as a primary identification method, and instead of putting ear tags in for our dairy goats, they prefer that you put tattoos in their ears or on their tail in the case of La Manchas. So today we will be disbudding two of our kids. We'll be disbudding Peggy's two does. And yes, it does hurt them. Of course, it is a hot cauterizing iron. And yes, I do know that some people out there, most people out there, might not agree with it, but this is just part of owning dairy goats. It is a part of our kidding season life. This has to be done every year. We dread it every year. We definitely do not get any joy out of this, as it is for the babies. But you will see after it is done and over with, within minutes, they are back to playing and enjoying their life, and they never think anything else of it. So, it's just one of those necessary evils on the farm. So let's go and talk about what all equipment we're going to need to get this done today. Okay, so first we have all of our disbudding equipment. We have gloves, leather gloves, to prevent burning ourselves. We have the iron. That's a Reinhardt X50. It has a large tip there for the Nubians that we do. Now, there are smaller tips that you can get for the X30, I do believe it is, where you can do the Nigerians with a smaller tip. And then we have clippers to shave the hair from their heads so we can see their horn buds. And then we also use a towel just to wrap the kids up with. Now, some people use a disbudding box, and we made one when we first started doing this about 6 years ago, but we found from our experience that the kids were able to move around too much. It was harder to keep them still, but we just found that the disbudding box did not work for us. What works for us better is just holding the kids under our legs, wrapped in the towel, keeps them nice and still, holding their heads to the ground. And you will see that demonstrated in just a little bit. Okay, and then we also have our tattooing equipment. You have nitrile gloves so you don't get green ink all over you. These are the tattoo pliers. I have one with two heads. that is her tattoo, and the tattoo number for the year and their order of birth. We have the extra letters that I'm going to need to do the next kid. We have alcohol wipes to clean their ears, ink, and a toothbrush just to rub that ink in and make sure we get all of those little holes. Okay, so before we get started, I want to briefly go over the process with y'all, because once we get into it, it is a little bit difficult to kind of see and tell what exactly is going on. So basically, let's pretend my knuckle is a horn bud, and basically all you're going to do is take your iron. You're going to want to heat your iron up for about 30 minutes before you use it so that it's, you know, blistering hot. And you just want to put it over that horn bud and just, you know, light pressure, circle around for about 10 seconds. And you will see a nice copper ring if you got a good sear around the whole horn bud. And I will show that to you when we get into it here in a minute. But that's all you're wanting to do, is get 2 nice copper rings around each horn bud, one on each horn bud. And that is the basic process of that. Your most important thing is that you want to make sure that your iron is hot, and you want to make sure that you are doing your kids in a timely manner. For buck kids, I like to do them usually within 3 days of them being born, and usually doe kids within a week. These 2 doe kids of Peggy's were born last week, so they have nice raised horn buds. They have not broke through the skin yet, but that means they are ready to be done now. If you wait too long, or if you do not burn long enough, or if your iron is not hot enough for whatever reason, you are most likely going to get scurs, which is continued horn growth that occurs when the disbudding goes wrong. And sometimes those scurs don't cause a problem, other times they do. You know, it does not look nice. That's the biggest drawback. You don't like to look at scurs. Sometimes the scurs can actually grow in such a way that they curl into the back of their heads, and then you have to continually trim them because that horn is going to keep growing throughout the goat's life. So you want to make sure that you do it properly. Okay, so I'm going to plug up my disbudding iron, and I will bring you guys back when we are ready to do this. Okay guys, so this is PJ, short for Peggy Jr. She is the first of Peggy's kids that was born, and she is going to be the first kid that we tattoo and disbud today. So the first thing I'm going to do is take our clippers and shave right around her horn buds. And the clippers don't hurt them, they just don't know that they don't recognize the noise. It just kind of scares them a little bit. Okay, so hopefully you can kind of see those horn buds right there in the middle of where we shaved. That is what the iron is going to fit down around. Those little nubs. All right. Okay, so we're going to get her wrapped up in this towel. And this is just to keep her from moving around too much. I've got this other towel here just to rest their heads on. Get that good and tight around them. And then you just want to straddle them. Do not sit on them. Do not put too much weight on them. You're just holding them in place with your legs. All right, and then we want to get our leather gloves on. It's got hair all over them. Get our leather gloves on. And then get her head good and flat and make sure you have a good hold of it. And take your iron and you're just going to burn for 10 seconds on each side until you get those good copper rings. And this is the time where you might want to stop watching if you're squeamish or if you are soft-hearted like I am. Here we go. So we've got those nice rings right around that horn bud. That is what we're wanting. Okay, so now we're going to do her sister. This is Lori. This is the doling out of Peggy that we are going to be keeping this year. So let's get her shaved down.
That's weird.
Okay, so we got her shaved. Now let's get her wrapped. Okay, we're just going to do the same exact thing with her. Sit her head down nicely on the ground. Find those horn buds. Just hold this 10 seconds over the horn bud, rotating. Show you a close-up of hers. See those nice, if it'll focus, there it goes. You can see those nice copper rings all the way around on her head. So that is what we want. That means that horn bud is going to die and there will be no more growth. All right, so now we're going to switch to getting these girls tattooed. And in my experience, tattooing them tends to hurt them worse than the disbudding does. So let's see how they do. Okay guys, so I'm going to show you the best I can how to properly tattoo your goats for ADGA registration. First you want to use an alcohol pad and get the inside of their ears nice and clean. Alright, and let me just show you where, I'll put her up near the camera. Let me just show you where exactly we are trying to get them tattooed. And this is a lot easier to see inside of a Nubian's ears because they're of course so much bigger. But right in between these two veins here, that big space right in between the ears there, that is where our tattoos are going to go. Okay, that's what we're aiming for. So, again, I have double-ended pliers. Some people have 2 sets of pliers so they can have their herd tattoo in one and have their year and birth order tattoo in the other. But mine can hold both. So I've got the birth order tattoo loaded right now. She is S5, and the birth order tattoo goes in the left ear. All right. So all you're going to do is put the pliers, the ear in between the pliers. You want in between those veins lined up with your letters, and then you're just going to pinch the pliers. All right. Let's see. I'm going ahead and load my ink. I like to have my ink already loaded on the toothbrush so that as soon as I make the little holes, you can just go ahead and scrub in the ink. Alright, so here we go. Let's get that nice and flat. Alright, and you're right there in between those folds. Alright, and you just squeeze the pliers. Okay, and you can see right in there all those little holes that we just made. That's what we're going to fill with the ink. All right. Just take it. Now I'm going to switch my pliers around. And we're going to do that right ear. Doesn't want to tighten up for some reason. There it goes. I really wish the shooting would stop.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we have the herd tattoo loaded in. We're going to do her right ear. And this one you want to make sure you get the spacing of really good because it tends to be a lot of letters. Right, when you get the spacing right, just want to make one firm squeeze. Alright, you can see all those little holes. Hopefully, we're going to get those filled in with the ink now.
I want to keep holding in.
Goodness. Alright, and you can see when you're running across it, all of the holes might not fill right away. You want to really work that ink in. until all of the holes are filled. Okay, and then that is all there is to it. You do not want to wipe off the excess ink or anything. Just let it dry and it will naturally flake off. All of the extra ink will. So she is done and good to go. Alright, so before I get Lori back over here, I'm going to change out the number in these pliers because she's going to be S6. So just slide that in there. And of course, when you're putting these in, you're going to put them in backwards. So when you tattoo them, they face forward. So mirror image. You know, when you're first starting out, if you need to, you can use these pliers on a piece of paper just to make sure that you have all of your letters and numbers in the correct order. Okay. And I like to just, when I get the letters in there, just kind of clamp it down just a little and make sure that everything is even across. Lori! Come here, baby. Come here. She said heck no. Okay. So again, we want to clean their ears. Go ahead and clean both ears. That way you don't have to stop in the middle to make sure you're getting everything clean. Because you don't want dirt and things in your tattoo ink because that is going to cause it to prematurely fade. So we want nice, clean ears.
Or an infection.
Or it could cause the ears to get infected from those little holes. Green ink all over me. All right, so we have our birth order tattoo loaded. So this is going to go in the left ear. Which of course, left ear is on my right side. Get it lined up. And one firm squeeze. Ooh. Oh, I didn't know you were such a screamer. There we go. Getting this flipped around. Make sure the setting is right. And go ahead and put ink on my toothbrush. Okay. All right, and then her tattoo goes in the right ear. Line it up. One firm motion. All right, there we go. She is done. And then just to show you how quickly they really get over this, just go ahead and let her down, and we'll just watch them. All right. As you can see, they just shake it off. And they kind of just go about their business. You can see PJ is just fine and dandy now. Pretty girl. Yeah, they are just looking for their bottle. They're ready to eat now. And that is something that we do. We do tend to wait on feeding them until after they are disbudded, because after they're disbudded and everything, a good meal, and they are good to go. But you can see they are not, I mean, they aren't afraid of me. They aren't, you know, writhing in pain. They're just acting like they were 15 minutes ago. You're good, huh? You good? Good, PJ? You good, PJ? Yeah, pretty girl. Pretty girl. Okay, guys, so that is it on disbudding and tattooing your baby goats. You know, this, of course, is the least fun thing that you will have to do with your babies, but especially if you are going to have ADGA registered goats and you are interested in showing, you are going to have your babies disbudded and tattooed. So it's up to you whether you learn to do it yourself. If you don't feel comfortable, you can find someone around you who is also a dairy goat owner that can do it for you. Someone that has done it several times and is well versed in it, has many successful disbuddings. You know, you don't want to go to somebody who you see all of their goats and they're running around with scurs on their heads. Vets can do disbuddings, but you know, I would just say be careful with your choice in vet. A lot of vets try to do it at like 4 weeks of age, and that is way too old to be disbudding your kids. Like I said, you want to do it within the first week or two, depending on if you have a buck or a doe. Bucks need to be done as soon as you possibly can once you feel those horn buds coming up. Does, they tend to not get their buds in until a week or so after they have been born. So that is when we get theirs done. But I'm going to get these girls back to their pen, get them fed, and they'll be good to go. All right, so there they are, drinking from their lamb bar, getting their evening meal. They are acting just like nothing ever happened. It's amazing how quickly they just bounce right back. They are happy girls now. All right, guys, but that is it. That is how we do our disbudding and tattooing. Again, there are many different methods to doing it. Do your research, watch, you know, more videos than just mine. Choose what you feel comfortable with and when you feel comfortable with it. I hope you guys were able to take something from this video. If you have any comments or questions, please leave them down below and we will be sure to answer them as quickly as we can. Otherwise, please like and subscribe if you haven't already, and stay tuned for future videos, more content with our babies. We have more does due this week, and so we should have more labor videos. So we will catch you guys next time.